can feel pain, you are alive. If you can feel others' pain, you are human. And if you can work towards reducing others' pain, you are a Rotarian. Namaskar and welcome to Anubhav Rotary Sunday series from District 3192, where stories of service, leadership and inspiration take center stage. I am Rotarian Milind Pandya and I am pleased to bring to you another inspiring individual today, interviewed by one and only Rotarian Sanjay Dugar.
Hello everyone and welcome once again to Anubhav Rotary Sunday series. This time we have a superstar Rotarian with us, none other than Dr. Bharat Pandya. Welcome to you, Dr. Bharat Pandya.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Just to give a brief introduction of our guest today, Dr. Bharat Pandya is a graduate from the very prestigious St. GS Medical College, KEM Hospital, Mumbai. He is practicing as general and laparoscopic surgeon since last 37 years. He is a fellow of International College of Surgeons and has been conferred fellowship by Association of Surgeons of India. He has served on the board of management of Jan Shikshan Sansthan JSS, which is a Government of India sponsored vocational training institute for 6 years. Coming to a little bit more about Rotary, right, which is where a little more introduction of his would be useful. He is governor of District 3140 in 2006-07, and during his year as DG, he contributed over $2 million to the Rotary Foundation, and for the first time in history of TRF, an Indian district District 3140 became number 1 in TRF contribution in the entire Rotary world, 2006-2007, the year of our DG Bharat Pandya. He served as Rotary International Director for 2019 to 21, a 3-year term, and as RI Treasurer for 2020 to 2021. He serves as TRF Trustee for 2022 to 2026. He has served as Vice Chair of Trustees in 2023 to 24 and as Chair of the TRF Executive Committee for 24-25. Dr. Bharat and his better half, Madhavi, are committed to the Rotary Foundation and Level 3 major donors. He has been conferred the Citation of Meritorious Service and the Distinguished Service Award by the Rotary Foundation and Rotary's highest award, Service Above Self. When asked a little about what was different, for the first 3 years, he said he was just a Rotary Club member, going for the meeting because the president telephoned and invited him. But when the Pulse Polio program happened, being the only doctor in the club, the president actually asked him to take care of it. In his words, we went to some really dark areas and slums which were inaccessible. Immunizing the children door to door ignited a spark in me. And slowly the transformation came. That was in his words about how he got brought into Rotary. And a little about his role model in life. He notes that it has been his father who in turn was deeply influenced by Gandhiji. He was a man of principles and displayed total integrity in what he spoke and did. That was a very strong influence on him. Not a God-fearing, but a God-believing man. I think a big difference between God-fearing and God-believing. He believes there are 3 phases in our lives: learn, earn, and return. Rotary has given him an opportunity to return even while he is earning. And he says he has no hesitation in saying that he got much more from Rotary than what he has given to it. With that, Dr. Bharat Pandya, I would first like to hear what brought you into Rotary.
Thank you, Sanjay, and it's a great pleasure to be here with you and on this talk show. I had just started my practice a couple of years before I joined Rotary. And when one of my father's patients, Rotarian JP Saxena, approached me and invited me to join Rotary, I was reluctant to join because it was just 2 years into my practice. But he was very persuasive man, and he persuaded me to join Rotary Club, invited me to be a charter member of a new club which was getting formed in my area, that is Rotary Club of Borivali. And as you have mentioned, Sanjay, that for the first couple of years, I went to meetings as a sort of a formality. President invited me or somebody came and took me along with them. But when the Pulse Polio drive started, and I went from place to place, pulling the children out of their house and putting those 2 drops of polio in the mouth of the children, over a period of some hours and of course some days, a gradual transformation came into me, and I got converted from a Rotary Club member into a Rotarian. And that's how my Rotary journey started.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you mentioned being a Rotary member, but becoming a Rotarian. That, I think, is the true essence of things. Wonderful. Another thought that comes to my mind, you're such a successful medical professional and yet deeply committed to Rotary International. You've served as DG, you're serving on so many positions as in the Rotary board. You've been a part of the trustee of the Rotary Foundation. What has kept you committed and motivated all these years?
Sanjay, let me be frank and tell you that even as a district governor, and you know how demanding a position of a governor is actually. But even as a district governor, I never lost focus on my medical practice. I used to practice a couple of hours in a day, most of the days, and then after say 11 or so, it was all Rotary actually. People often ask me, how do you find time for Rotary? And I tell them that I have only 2 words. One is aptitude and second is attitude. If you have the aptitude, if you like something and you want to do something and you have a positive attitude, you can always find time. You don't have time for things, you have to find time for doing things which are really important in your life. And over the years, I realized that Rotary was an important part of my life. As a medical practitioner, as a medical doctor, I always had the opportunity to do something for other people. But that opportunity, whether it was giving them some free medicines or some whatever, but that opportunity was limited to the community around me. As I got drawn deeper and deeper into Rotary, I realized that through Rotary, I have the opportunity to make a much larger impact in a wider community, in my state, in our country, and across the world. And that is what has got me into Rotary, and that is what kept me going into Rotary. It's a great organization if you really get to the essence of that organization's attitude and aptitude.
Wow, amazing. I mean, this answers 2 other questions that I had, because we hear many professionals who say, how do you find time in Rotary? And I think that aptitude and attitude, and it's really about finding time. Time is the same 24 hours for everyone, but how do you make time for what you enjoy doing? And that's the essence. Thank you so much for sharing. I think the aptitude and attitude mantra will remain as a focus for a lot of people. I'm sure that we can invite professionals and share your story of success to bring them in and contribute. You also talked about it helped you create a much larger impact. So can you maybe share an example or a story that comes to your mind which can help other professionals recognize how joining Rotary and being involved in Rotary can help them create great impact?
I have so many stories about impact. And today, let me tell you that we in Rotary are looking more and more, not just as the output of what we do, but we are looking more and more of the impact. Impact is what is the change we are bringing about in the community and what is the long-term effect of the good that we are doing in the community. Let me just give you one small, simple example. The foundation has many programs. And one of the programs is the Corporate Social Responsibility Program of Rotary. And through this Corporate Social Responsibility Program of Rotary, Rotary Club of Madras, a couple of years back, which was then celebrating 95 years of its existence, wanted to build 95 houses for a community, the Ilaru community, which was living in the remote parts of Tamil Nadu state, around 3.5 hours away from Chennai. That community makes its livings by catching snakes, rabbits, and other animals. And they were living in mud houses, thatched roofs with coconut leaves and the coconut thing as the roof. Their bathroom also was outside, even a smaller structure, and the door of the bathroom was just a piece of cloth hanging in front of that opening edge. And this club built 95 houses and handed over 95 houses to them. At the handing over ceremony, 2 ladies spoke about it. And they said that at last, because of that bathroom which the Rotary Club has built, which now is a proper structure with a door which can be locked from inside, because of that, they are able to do their chores, daily chores, with dignity and without fear. To a woman, fearlessness, dignity, and respect of her privacy is the most important gift you can ever give to anybody else. And I think that really touched me deeply about the impact that we can have through Rotary and the Rotary Foundation.
Absolutely. Simple projects, but deep impact. It's a wonderful, absolutely moving story. So let's take a little shift to your role as a trustee of the Rotary Foundation. You've seen impact at a global level. How would you describe the real difference created by global grants on the ground? What actually happens with use of global grants on the ground?
Global grants started about 12 years back in 2013. And in these last 12 years, I think they have been sort of a game changer as far as the Rotary Foundation is concerned. Every year, we do almost 1,200 global grants, and we spend to the tune of around $80 to $90 million through global grants to do the various activities, service activities across the world. Of course, in Corona, we did much more than that, but those were different years, so we'll not talk about that. But yearly, averagely, we'll do that much amount of work through the global grants programs. And global grants have really been game changers as far as the work of the Rotary Foundation is concerned. Let me give you some examples. I went to Rajkot and inaugurated a diabetes center, a 5-story diabetes center, which probably is only kind of its diabetes center in Western India and one of the few in the whole of India which is completely dedicated to diabetes and the treatment of diabetes. And this center is fully equipped by global grants of the Rotary Foundation. I went to visit the SRCC hospital in Mumbai. This SRCC hospital started in 1954-55 is SRCC's Society for Rehabilitation of Crippled Children. 54-55 when it started. The main aim was to offer corrective surgeries, especially polio corrective surgeries. By 2011-12, there was no more polio, no more work in the hospital, and hospital shut down. It was taken over 4 or 5 years later by Narayan Hrudayalaya and reopened in 2018. Now it's mainly dedicated to pediatric cardiac surgeries and pediatric orthopedic surgeries. When I visited that hospital, 20 patients from rural parts of Maharashtra had come to undergo pediatric orthopedic surgeries, pediatric cardiac surgeries. I visited the pre-operative ward. On the bed were the children lying from 6 months to 11 or 12 years old. Next to the child was one of the parents, father or mother, usually the mother. As I went around from place to place, I looked into the eyes of the parents, and in their eyes, I saw 2 emotions, anxiety and hope. Anxiety of whether their child would come out successfully from that operation which it was to undergo in the next couple of days, and hope that that child with a hole in its heart now has a chance to be cured, to have the gift of life and to lead a normal life thanks to that organization Rotary, which has come forward to offer that gift of life. And let me tell you something, Sanjay. In the last 6-7 years, that hospital has done more than 5,000 pediatric cardiac surgeries. But let me also share with you that out of those 5,000, 4,500 have been done through Rotary Global Grants. And you will agree with me that in our part of the world, when you impact the life of one child, you just don't impact life of 3 or 4 people, but you impact the life of at least 50 to 20 people in the extended family, and probably you impact the life of that whole community. That is just one example or couple of examples of the impact that global grants have.
Wow. I mean, absolutely stunning to hear that. And it's also that hospital was revived and transformed and then delivered with such amazing, I would say community changing impact. Absolutely wonderful. And global grants did play that role in multiplying the impact that one can create. Thank you for sharing those experiences. Sir, earlier you just mentioned about corporate social responsibility. So in India, we have a strong CSR ecosystem. So how is this supporting Rotary projects and the Rotary Foundation?
So, one of the biggest advantages that the Indian government has made CSR mandatory for companies with certain turnovers and certain assets and certain net assets or net profit. And therefore, Rotary is a recognized NGO to implement CSR projects which the companies want to do. We are all aware that Rotary works in 7 areas of focus, and I'm not going to go into detail. But these areas of focus are very much aligned with the recommended areas in which government has said that companies should do their CSR. And therefore, Rotary offers ready-made solutions to corporates to use their CSR in a way where it can have impact, where it can have a big impact, where the corporate wants to do a pan-India project. A corporate may have headquarters in Mumbai, but may want to do a project in Ranchi in Jharkhand. Rotary is available in Mumbai. Rotary is also available in Ranchi. If the corporate has a headquarters in Bangalore, but wants to do a project in Madurai, Rotary is available in Bangalore. Rotary is available. So that network which Rotary offers is unmatched by any other organization. Plus, Rotary offers a history that the Rotary Foundation over the last 107, 108 years has got a history of doing outstanding work, impactful work with very strong stewardship practices, complete financial integrity, financial prudence, financial discipline, and financial transparency. I think all words are important. Prudence, we don't use the money just in whatever way we want. Discipline, very important. And very important, transparency and integrity in the finances which we do. And therefore, I think Rotary is probably a very important choice for corporates. And in the last 4 or 5 years, the way the CSR program has gone, CSR India grants program has grown, it is increasingly evident that now more and more corporates are turning towards Rotary to implement their CSR projects.
Absolutely wonderful, because I think the way Rotary does is they're very prudent, of course, in selecting and then scaling very methodically. They're very transparent, they're very, very disciplined and rigor in the way they do. The reporting is absolutely world class. So I'm sure that the infrastructure and the methodology that Rotary can provide does help CSR decisions to be made in favor. So yes, as Rotary, we could get more and more of it, and also it is a win-win for both sides. So absolutely wonderful. Thanks for sharing all that information with us. Let's move into a little bit of a rapid fire sort of questions. Like by rapid fire, I mean you can give me like one-line answers. So one habit that you think every successful Rotarian should develop?
The habit of remaining humble and grounded to the earth. I think humility is the hallmark of a good leader. And I know that Rotarians are good leaders, but I think humility is very, very important if you really want to make an impact on people.
Well, and yes, humility is a hallmark of a great leader, even in Rotary. One line on your message to young Rotarians who are aspiring for leadership roles.
You know, the message that I would like to give to young Rotarians is that Rotary is a great organization. It requires a little bit of your effort, a little bit of your talent, and a little bit of your time. And you will find that the value that Rotary provides in return is immense, and it will help you to develop your leadership qualities in the best possible manner.
Wonderful, wonderful. One final question, sir. Very tempting to ask you this. If you had to define the future of Rotary in one sentence, what would you say?
I think Rotary has a great future. It has completed 120 years of its existence, and increasingly, as I said, we are looking for impact. Increasingly, the impact of Rotary programs, the impact of foundation programs is allowing us to make a name in the world, and I am sure that Rotary will definitely continue for at least 100 years more.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. We really value your advice and all your thoughts that you've shared.
And
you wanted to add something.
You did say one line, but I can add something.
Sure, please do.
I have always believed that if you build temples, churches, and mosques, they will crumble into ruins. If you build monuments, time will deface them. But if you work with the minds of the people, minds of men and women, minds of Rotarians, and imbue in them a sense of discipline, a sense of service, and sense of integrity, I think they will remain as long as their lifetime is there, and they will ensure that Rotary continues to remain for eternity, I think. And that is what Rotary is about, influencing the mindset of the people.
Wow, very, very powerful, sir. I'm glad that you are able to bring that perspective in. Rotary for eternity is the way to go. I'm sure about that. And thank you. And we really value your time and your advice and your thoughts that you shared with all of us. I'm sure it will help not only Rotarians, aspiring leaders, but also invite new Rotarians to join in such a wonderful movement that can cause such high impact. Thank you for all your thoughts, sir.
Thank you, Sanjay. It has been a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Rotary Sunday series. If today's story inspired you, share it and subscribe for more such meaningful conversations from Rotary District 3192.